Where is Alexis? New surveillance images show a Clark Atlanta student at a liquor store hours before she disappeared. Alexis Crawford's family last heard from her on October 30th. Today, volunteers searched an area near her apartment on McDaniel Street. The search didn't turn up any new clues.
New details in the disappearance and death of Alexis Crawford. Warrants reveal the Clark Atlanta University student was allegedly strangled and smothered after a fight with a roommate and the roommate's boyfriend. Crawford was reported missing on November 1st, just one day after police say that she was murdered, but her body wasn't found until 7 days later in a DeKalb County park.
The person who led police to Alexis Crawford's body rotting in those dark woods was the last person anyone expected. Her best friend, her roommate, the girl who had spent holidays with Alexis's family. The same girl who had been texting Alexis's phone for days, pretending to worry about where she was. But she knew exactly where Alexis was, because she had put her there. On November 8, 2019, Jordyn walked police officers through Exchange Park in Decatur, Georgia. She pointed to a wooded area where trash and fallen leaves covered the ground. She said, "She's over there," her voice flat and emotionless. What officers found next was truly shocking. Alexis Crawford's body lay wrapped in a blue blanket, her hands tied behind her back. A plastic garbage bag was still wrapped around her head. The same bag her best friend had used to suffocate her just 8 days earlier. She had been missing for a week, but the whole time the person leading the search efforts, the person comforting Alexis's family, the person posting on social media asking for help was her killer. What Jordyn Jones did to Alexis Crawford in their apartment that night goes beyond evil, and the reason she did it? It will make your blood run cold. Welcome to our channel. Before we get into this shocking betrayal that will leave you questioning everyone you trust, smash that like button if you're ready for a case that will shake you to your core. Don't forget to share this video and subscribe to our channel. Stay with me, because this story gets darker than you can imagine. Alexis Crawford was born on December 23, 1997, in Athens, Georgia. She came into this world as part of a huge, loving family. She had 4 sisters and 5 brothers. Growing up in a house with 10 kids taught Alexis the importance of loyalty, love, and sticking together no matter what. From a young age, Alexis was full of life. She loved shopping for the latest clothes, traveling to new places, and drawing beautiful pictures of everything around her. Music made her happy, and she would dance whenever her favorite songs came on. Her family remembers her as bright, cheerful, and someone who lived every day to the fullest. In 2016, Alexis graduated from Clark Central High School with excellent grades. She had big dreams for her future. She wanted to make a real difference in the world, especially for women like herself. So she enrolled at Clark Atlanta University, where she decided to study both sociology and criminal justice. Alexis wasn't just thinking about getting a degree. She had plans to start her own support group to help and inspire other young women. She wanted to be someone who lifted others up and gave them hope. It was at Clark Atlanta University where Alexis met Jordyn Jones. The 2 girls clicked right away. They became more than just friends. They were like sisters. They shared everything with each other, their secrets, their dreams, their fears. They went out together, had fun together, and supported each other through the stress of college life. Jordyn quickly became part of Alexis's family. During holidays, Alexis would bring Jordyn home to Athens, where her parents and siblings welcomed her with open arms. Jordyn wasn't just Alexis's friend, she was family. She sat at their dinner table, laughed at their inside jokes, and became someone Alexis's parents trusted completely. The friendship was so strong that when it came time to find housing, the decision was easy. Alexis and Jordyn decided to move in together. They found a place at Heritage Park Station close to their school. It seemed perfect. 2 best friends sharing their lives and chasing their dreams together. For months, everything was wonderful. The girls supported each other through tough classes and stressful exams. They cooked together, watched movies together, and talked about their futures. Alexis felt safe and happy. She had found her person, someone she could trust with anything. Their apartment became a place of laughter and friendship. Alexis would work on her criminal justice assignments while Jordyn studied nearby. They would stay up late talking about boys, school, and what they wanted to do after graduation. It was the kind of friendship that seemed unbreakable, but there was one thing that would destroy this perfect friendship, one person who would turn Jordyn against the girl she called her sister. His name was Baron Brantley, and he was about to change everything. Baron Brantley was 21 years old when he entered Jordyn's life. He wasn't a student at Clark Atlanta University like the girls. Instead, he worked different jobs around Atlanta. To most people who met him, Baron seemed like a regular guy. But there was something about him that would soon reveal his true character. Jordyn started dating Baron in early 2019. At first, Alexis was happy for her best friend. She wanted Jordyn to find love and be happy. But as the months went by, Alexis began to notice changes in their friendship. Baron started spending more and more time at their apartment. What began as occasional visits turned into him practically living there. He would eat their food, use their bathroom, and make himself completely at home. Alexis felt like she was losing her space, and her best friend. The dynamic between the three of them became awkward. Baron would make comments that made Alexis uncomfortable. He seemed to enjoy pushing boundaries and testing how far he could go. Alexis tried to ignore it because she didn't want to cause problems between Jordyn and her boyfriend. But Baron's behavior got worse. He would walk around the apartment in his underwear, even when Alexis was home. He would make inappropriate jokes and comments. Alexis felt like she couldn't relax in her own home anymore. On October 26, 2019, Alexis and Jordyn decided to go out for drinks. They wanted to have a fun night together, just the two of them. They went to a local bar and spent the evening laughing and talking like old times. For a few hours, it felt like their friendship was back to normal. The girls had several drinks throughout the night. They were both feeling good and happy as they made their way back to their apartment. Alexis was looking forward to getting home, changing into comfortable clothes, and maybe watching a movie with Jordyn. But when they walked through their apartment door, Alexis got a shock. Baron was there, waiting for them. He had been drinking too, and he seemed different that night. There was something in his eyes that made Alexis feel uneasy. What happened next would destroy everything. The trust, the friendship, the safety that Alexis felt in her own home. It would all be gone in a matter of minutes. Alexis went to use the bathroom, probably thinking about how she wanted to end this good night on a positive note. She had no idea that Baron was following her. She had no idea that her best friend's boyfriend was about to cross a line that could never be uncrossed. What would you do if you found your best friend's boyfriend in this situation? Let me know in the comments, because what Jordyn did next will shock you. The events of that night would set off a chain reaction that would end with Alexis fighting for her life just 4 days later. And the person who should have protected her, her best friend, would be the one holding the weapon. When Alexis went to the bathroom that night, something terrible happened. According to the police investigation, Baron followed her into the bathroom. Jordyn woke up about an hour later and went looking for them. She found the bathroom door locked from the inside. Jordyn knocked on the door for over a minute before it finally opened. When the door opened, Baron was standing there without his shirt on, while Alexis was lying unconscious on the bathroom floor. When Jordyn asked what was going on, Baron claimed he had been so drunk that he mistook Alexis for his girlfriend. But when Alexis regained consciousness, her story was completely different. She told Jordyn that Baron had been inappropriate with her and that she had told him to stop before blacking out. This led to a heated argument between Jordyn and Baron. Jordyn was furious and demanded answers. Why was Baron half naked? Why was Alexis unconscious on the floor? Why was the bathroom door locked? Baron had no good answers and stormed out of the apartment, taking Jordyn's car keys with him. Alexis was now fully awake but crying on the floor. Even though she couldn't remember everything that happened, she strongly suspected that Baron had done something terrible to her. Jordyn was more worried about her stolen car and called 911 to report it, but she never mentioned anything about what might have happened to Alexis. A friend named Brittany came over to help. She convinced Alexis to go to the hospital to get checked. On October 27th, Alexis went to Grady Hospital for a forensic examination. The medical exam confirmed that she had been sexually assaulted. Foreign DNA was found in her body. Even with this evidence, Alexis filed a police report against Baron Brantley, but the police couldn't arrest him immediately because DNA processing takes weeks, and they needed more evidence. You would think Jordyn would support her best friend after learning she had been assaulted, but shockingly, Jordyn did the opposite.
According to police, Crawford had a rape kit performed on her at Grady Hospital and later told her friends she didn't feel comfortable sleeping in her own bed.
She continued dating Baron and even defended him. She acted like nothing had happened, ignoring Alexis's trauma and pain. Even worse, Jordyn snuck Baron back into their apartment on October 27th. He hid in her bedroom for 4 days while the police were looking for him. Jordyn would leave him alone in the apartment with Alexis when she went to class. Jordyn even went behind Alexis's back and lied to her family, telling them that no foreign DNA had been found during the medical examination. Alexis was completely devastated. She felt alone and violated. She couldn't sleep in her own bed or trust her roommate. She would sit on the couch all day, traumatized and unable to get the memories out of her head. The once happy girl became a shell of her former self. The situation was unbearable for Alexis. Her attacker was still free, hiding in her own apartment, protected by the person she had trusted most in the world. October 30th, 2019, started like any other day, but it would be the last day of Alexis Crawford's life.
New surveillance images show a Clark Atlanta student at a liquor store hours before she disappeared. Alexis Crawford's family last heard from her on October 30th. Today, volunteers searched an area near her apartment on McDaniel Street. The search didn't turn up any new clues.
That evening, Alexis asked Jordyn to drive her to a liquor store. They went to the store on Flat Shoals Parkway around 11:23 p.m. Security cameras captured them together, buying a bottle of Jose Cuervo tequila. This would be the last time anyone outside their apartment would see Alexis alive.
11 p.m., October 30th. Jordyn Jones tells police she took Crawford to a liquor store. Here Crawford is on camera. And it's these pictures that would be released after Crawford was reported missing. But as it turns out, warrants show Baron Brantley, Jones's boyfriend, admitted to police the two women got into a physical altercation soon after the trip to the liquor store.
They returned home around 11:40 p.m. Alexis made herself a hamburger, and then something happened that would change everything forever. Jordyn finally admitted to Alexis that she had been hiding Baron in her bedroom for the past 4 days. Alexis was furious. How could her best friend hide the man who had sexually assaulted her? How could Jordyn protect the person who had hurt her so badly? The two girls who had once been like sisters got into a heated argument. According to Jordyn's confession to police, she and Alexis were fighting when Baron suddenly came out of the bedroom. But Baron's version of events was different. He admitted that while he was choking Alexis, Jordyn grabbed a plastic garbage bag and put it over Alexis's head. The truth is that both of them killed Alexis together.
Then between 2:30 and 5 a.m. on Halloween, the warrant says Jones smothered the victim until she stopped breathing, with Brantley getting involved and choking the victim as well. This report shows Brantley confessed that he and Jones placed Crawford's body in a plastic bin and took it to Exchange Park in DeKalb County.
Baron grabbed Alexis and began choking her, pressing on her neck to cut off her air supply. At the same time, Jordyn took a plastic bag and pulled it over Alexis's head to suffocate her faster. Alexis fought for her life. She struggled desperately to breathe and tried to tear a hole in the plastic bag to get air. The killers later told police that they could hear her making sounds of agony as she fought to stay alive. But they didn't stop. They kept holding her down until she stopped breathing. Imagine the terror Alexis must have felt in those final moments. The two people she trusted most in the world were working together to kill her. Her best friend, who she had shared secrets with and spent holidays with, was helping to murder her. When Alexis finally stopped moving and breathing, they knew she was dead. But their evil work wasn't finished. They had to get rid of the evidence. They stuffed Alexis's body into a plastic bin. the same bin that Jordyn had been texting about, worried that her parents would ask where it was. They loaded the bin with their friend's body into Jordyn's car. At 3:11 a.m. on October 31st, security cameras caught Jordyn and Barron leaving the apartment complex. They drove to Exchange Park in DeKalb County, a secluded wooded area. They dumped the bin containing Alexis's body down a hill and left her there like garbage. They returned to the apartment at 4:09 a.m., destroyed any evidence that could link them to the murder, and went to bed. The next day was Halloween, and they went to a party together, acting like nothing had happened. Alexis Crawford, a bright young woman with dreams of helping others, was gone forever. The next day, Jordyn put on an Oscar-worthy performance. She acted worried about Alexis and even sent text messages to Alexis's phone, pretending she didn't know where she was. She wanted to create evidence that would make her look like a concerned roommate. Meanwhile, Alexis' family was getting worried. They had been trying to reach her, but her phone wasn't connecting. Alexis had FaceTimed her mom on October 30th around 3:30 p.m., and she was active on social media until 9:03 p.m. After that, she completely disappeared. Her family knew something was wrong. Alexis always stayed in touch with them. She wouldn't just vanish without telling anyone. On November 1st, 2019, they filed a missing person report with the police. The news of Alexis's disappearance spread quickly. Her father drove from Monday to Atlanta and said he wasn't leaving until he found his daughter. Community volunteers organized search parties. They put on gloves and searched for any clues that could help find Alexis. They even called her cell phone, hoping she would answer, but it went straight to voicemail. The police immediately started investigating. They went to talk to Jordyn, since she was Alexis's roommate and the last person to see her. But Jordyn's story was suspiciously simple. She claimed that on October 30th, she drove Alexis to the liquor store. They came home and she went to sleep. When she woke up the next morning, Alexis was gone. Jordyn told police that she and Alexis weren't talking to each other because of something that happened earlier in the week, but she refused to explain what that something was. She acted like she had no idea where Alexis could be. The police got a search warrant for the apartment. They found that all of Alexis's personal belongings were missing: her phone, student ID, and credit cards. They also found a small drop of blood in Jordyn's bathroom, which they collected as evidence. But the real breakthrough came when police checked the security cameras. The footage showed something that completely contradicted Jordyn's story. At 3:11 a.m. on October 31st, cameras caught Jordyn and Barron leaving the apartment complex in her car. They were gone for almost an hour, returning at 4:09 a.m. This was a huge problem for Jordyn. She had told police she went to bed after returning from the liquor store. She never mentioned that Barron was even there, and she definitely didn't mention leaving the apartment again in the middle of the night. Police also found Jordyn's phone and discovered some very suspicious text messages. She had texted Barron, telling him to destroy the parking lot surveillance cameras. She also texted a friend about a missing plastic bin that her parents had given her. The lies were starting to unravel. With the security camera footage and suspicious text messages, police knew Jordyn was lying. They brought her in for a second interview, and this time they confronted her with the evidence. The pressure was too much for her to handle. Jordyn finally broke down and confessed, but she tried to make herself look like an innocent bystander. She admitted that Barron had been hiding in her bedroom for days, even though she knew the police were looking for him. She said that when she told Alexis about this, they got into a big fight. According to Jordyn's confession, Barron came out of the bedroom during their argument and grabbed Alexis. She claimed that Barron choked Alexis until she died, and that she didn't actually participate in the murder. She painted herself as someone who was just there when it happened. But Jordyn knew she had to give the police something more to make her story believable. She agreed to take them to where they had dumped Alexis's body. On a cold day in November, Jordyn led police officers to Exchange Park in DeKalb County. The search team found Alexis's body in a wooded area just as Jordyn had described. But the scene was even more horrific than anyone had imagined. Alexis's body had fallen out of the plastic bin when they threw it down the hill. She was wrapped in a blue blanket and her hands were tied together. Most shocking of all, the plastic garbage bag was still on Alexis's head. There was a small hole torn in the bag where Alexis had desperately tried to breathe during her final moments. Her hoodie was tied around her neck, and a blue T-shirt was wrapped around it as well. The medical examiner confirmed that Alexis had died from asphyxiation. She had been strangled and suffocated. Her death was officially ruled a homicide. Police immediately arrested Baron Brantley and brought him in for questioning. When they confronted him with Jordyn's confession, he decided to tell his own version of the story. But his confession was very different from Jordyn's. Baron admitted that he had choked Alexis, but he said he didn't kill her alone. According to his statement, while he was holding Alexis's neck and choking her, Jordyn grabbed a plastic garbage bag and put it over Alexis's head to make her die faster. Baron described how they could hear Alexis making sounds of agony as she struggled to breathe. He said she was fighting for her life, trying to get air, but they both kept holding her down until she stopped moving. Now the police had two confessions, and both killers were pointing fingers at each other. But one thing was clear. They had both participated in Alexis's murder. With these confessions, police got another search warrant for the apartment. This time, they used special equipment to look for blood evidence. They blacked out all the windows and used chemicals that would make blood glow in the dark. They found blood throughout the living room that had been cleaned up. They also discovered the bloody sponge that Jordyn and Baron had used to clean up the evidence. There was blood and hair on the sponge, which would later be matched to Alexis. In November 2019, both Jordyn Jones and Baron Brantley were officially charged with murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and concealing a death. Baron also faced additional charges for the sexual assault he had committed against Alexis. Their lawyers tried to get them released on bond, arguing that they weren't flight risks, but the judge disagreed. The court found that Jordyn had been making plans to move back to Michigan right after the murder, which made her a flight risk. Both defendants were denied bond and remained in Fulton County Jail. The evidence against them was overwhelming. They had confessed to the crime, led police to the body, and physical evidence tied them to the murder scene. In January 2020, both defendants appeared before separate grand juries who indicted them on multiple charges including murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and concealing a death. However, in January 2023, there was a significant setback for the prosecution. Judge Belinda Edwards ruled that Baron Brantley's confession could not be used in court. She determined that his Miranda rights were not properly given and that he was likely under the influence of drugs during his confession, making it invalid. This ruling complicated the case significantly. Without Brantley's confession, prosecutors would have to rely more heavily on physical evidence, Jordyn's statements, and other testimony to prove their case. As of late 2023, trial dates still had not been set for either defendant. Both remain in custody and the legal process continues to move slowly through the courts. The case has been heartbreaking for everyone involved. As Atlanta Police Chief Erica Shields said when Alexis's body was found, "The case has come to one of the saddest conclusions possible and has been absolutely heartbreaking." Alexis's family continues to wait for justice, hoping that both killers will be held fully accountable for taking their daughter's life in such a brutal way. What do you think should happen to Jordyn and Brantley? Should they both face the same punishment, or was one more responsible than the other? And what state are you watching from? Justice looks different everywhere, but we all want to see it served. The murder of Alexis Crawford represents one of the most heartbreaking betrayals imaginable. This wasn't just a crime committed by strangers or acquaintances. It was carried out by the two people Alexis trusted most in the world. Even though Alexis is gone, her story continues to impact people around the world. Her case reminds us to be better friends, better supporters of victims, and better advocates for justice. Her legacy should inspire us to create the kind of world she wanted to build. One where women support each other and seek justice for those who have been wronged. If this story moved you, please subscribe to our channel and share this video to keep Alexis's memory alive and to remind others about the importance of true friendship and justice.